Good morning and welcome back to the bench. I had to look around through my computer and find the before pictures. This thing was in terrible shape when I got it. So this is what it looked like. I use Awesome from the dollar store to do the cases on most stuff. I haven't had it ruin any of the paint or anything on any of my projects. So I cleaned this up with the Awesome. I had to order a new meter from AliExpress or eBay or some places, 10 millimeters. On the back, all the copper the enamel was coming off. This thing was built in 1937, I believe. Anyway, so I rewired the whole thing and took the pins out. You can't see it from here, but there's a bolt that goes through the front and holds these little caps on. Once you pull the caps off, you can get the tube clips out. And they're all identical, so it's pretty hard to put them in backwards. Anyway, so I replaced all the copper wiring with insulated wire for each one. Redid a schematic, and when I went to do the meter, I had to calibrate it. I took, let's see, I think it was this switch. There's a switch under here for the 10 millimeter. And you want it to be set to the 50 milliamp current range at first, and then if you hit the button it goes down to 10 milliamps, but this one was wired backwards. Basically it shorted out the shunt and then added more. So in this case I had the shunt complete and then shorted out half of it for the 10 milliamp scale. And then I'll show you what I did for the front. Okay, this is an idea I had. It's all bake white, but the letters are recessed. So I went to the dollar store and I got a couple bottles of this $1.25 nail polish. I got that and that. I wanted white, but they didn't have any. Actually, the shelves were getting pretty skimpy because of the tariffs we got going on. Anyway, I wanted to show you how this worked out. And a little bit of, I put it on here and I dried it. And a little bit of acetone nail polish remover, and we'll just rub it on here. I go around the outside first and take off that. I figured I'd do this first because then if it didn't work I could just remove all of it with the nail polish remover. Okay, got a little too much on that one. I have to redo it again. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. I maybe should let this dry longer. I don't know. Now for a practice run, I don't think that turned out half bad. A little more practice, but it did achieve the intentions. So I'm gonna keep going on this. I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Yeah, welcome back. Finally got this thing done. I'm gonna put some before pictures up. What I ended up doing, this was all solid copper wire that the enamel was coming off. It was so old. This was made in like the 30s. So I replaced all the pin-to-pin wires, color-coded. Over here I've got a sticker with what volts they are on the back. Now I've come up with two schematics for this. One had a power on switch and a fuse. This one did not. These two are the filament outputs for, I believe, the 3.3, so you can test outside the circuit. This is for a meter. Now I had to order this. I was able to find a 10 milliamp, which is your current from grid to plate, or cathode to plate. But the, what do you call it? The shunt for the meter was wasted, so I had to do a different circuit. Here's what I come up with. So this is a 22K and a 4.7K from the plate to the meter. Normally it'll run 0 to 50 milliamps as stock. Now if you want to test for the 10 milliamps, you would hit this button down, which I had to reverse wire because in the other one it was you would push this in to engage the resistor. Anyway, so the cool thing on this, all the lettering was gone and it's stamped in there like recessed. And my idea was, I went to the dollar store. They didn't have a great selection, but I bought some of this nail polish. This is kind of like a sage green, but even lighter. They didn't have any white. Anyway, so what I ended up doing is painting all the holes in with the nail polish. And then after it dried, I went back over it with a Q-tip and wiped all the excess off. And it did a really fantastic job. I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Unfortunately, now that it's done, I don't have any 4-pin tubes to test it. So anyway, what I ended up doing to calibrate this, I ran my bench current meter between the cathode and the plate, measured the current flow, and calibrated the meter that way. Anyway, this turned out pretty good. Like I said, I can't test it until I get some 4-pin tubes. Don't seem to have any of those. Anyway, until next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.